Well, hello, Facebook. John Hansman here with Truett, and it's Thursday. Thursday, generally, right now, means that I'm working on putting out live educational live streams starting every Thursday, moving forward. I did one a couple weeks ago with Total, our security provider, and it was really good, super informational, and I thought it was going to be. It just was a really great conversation, and I really was appreciative of them joining. And so today we're going to talk a little bit about antivirus, and we're not going to get too technical. We're going to get a little technical so that you have an idea of what we're talking about. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is we're going to talk about a pain point that I see on a regular basis when I talk to particularly smaller business owners. So I've seen this in businesses where there's 5 users, 5 employees, all the way up to I've seen this with a really large organization that thought that having just free antivirus is enough. I also talked with and saw even one local small computer repair shop. I'm not going to tell you who it was, but they were deploying free antivirus onto machines. And really, what we're talking about, I call it the placebo effect. It makes you feel all warm inside because you have antivirus on your computer, but it doesn't do anything to help you at all. So today we're going to talk a little bit about antivirus. There's really 3 types, and we're going to talk a little bit about why you really need to be thinking about the type of antivirus that you're putting on your computer. So here's the question that I like to ask people, and that I think is really important to ask. Does saving money now make sense if you can lose much more, so much more money later? And think about this. If you were to have, now this is not a price for antivirus, but this would be a price for maybe a managed IT agreement. If you paid $20,000 a year willingly, so you don't have to pay $200,000 unwillingly, which one seems like a better deal? We're talking about today that we're seeing an average of 200,000 or more for small businesses who have to use that money to recover from a cyber attack. And it really depends on whether they have really good insurance as to whether they get that money from their insurance or if they have to pay it out themselves. So what we're talking about and what we're trying to help educate people on is if you use the right tools now and you spend that money now, you're not going to end up losing money later because you've got the right tools in place. So we're going to get a little technical. So first thing I want to talk about is what is a 0-day attack? This is important for context for our conversation later. But a 0-day attack simply is a cyber attack that exploits previous unknown vulnerabilities in software or a system. So this is something that generally gets released and there is no patch for it. It's new to the world. It's something that somebody created. It could be today, it could be tomorrow that they release it, and then they immediately start using it, and it is wild in the environment, and no one knows about it yet until it starts showing up. So the next part of that is it's called a 0-day, okay, because there's no patch, there's no fix available, and the thing about that is that if there's no fix available, traditional antivirus is just going to get right through it. So we want to be proactive and be keeping up with everything we can, including new viruses that previously we didn't know about or that are new to the world. We want to try to stay ahead of the curve. And that's somewhat what we're talking about. So, okay, we're going to talk first about free antivirus because I see this where people will install the free version of Avast or even Malwarebytes or one of those other companies that like Malwarebytes. We used to sell it to our residential clients. It's a great product, but in its free version, it's limited on purpose. So, free antivirus typically does not have real time protection. Generally, what it does is it only scans once a day and allows you to see viruses that or hunt viruses that already exist on your computer. It does not actively protect your machine. So if you were to click on something online in the moment, this free antivirus is not going to help you. This is super important to understand because in a day where we're seeing a ton of cyber attacks, you don't want your employees being able to click on things without them without some kind of response or some kind of protection. Because if they start clicking on emails, it's just instantaneous that something like ransomware can spread. So the second part of that is by the time it sees the issue, it's way too late. So if you're doing if you're doing a scan like your daily scans and it finds a virus, well, it could be on that computer for that whole 24-hour period since you ran it last. There's no active protection at all. It literally is just scanning for things that have already happened. And so now you're living in the past. And so for something that gets on your machine and does immediate damage, free antivirus is not going to help you whatsoever. And by the time you would see it, like for ransomware, for example, free antivirus isn't going to help you against ransomware whatsoever. Free antivirus is really, here's what the bottom line of what free antivirus is. It's a sales pitch. It's a demo. It's basically a company saying, hey, here's a trial of our software. It can show you that we can find things, and it is a great way to get your foot in the door. But if you want our full product, you have to pay for it. That's really all free antivirus is. It's really just a sales pitch. And my question is, do you want to put the life of your business on a sales pitch? Do you want to depend on that? I don't think that's the wisest answer. I think that you want to be looking at what is something that's actually going to protect your business. Okay. The next thing we're going to talk about is what is we're going to call traditional antivirus. So this would be a paid version, something that you're paying for. You might be paying Norton or McAfee or Malwarebytes or any of those products, and they do a good job with a lot of things. But traditional antivirus software typically runs in the background, and what it's doing is it's scanning files and processes for known malware signatures. Now, it's important to understand the word known. Known means that it's already been discovered by cybersecurity professionals. They already have a fix for it. They already know that it exists, and basically it's in the database. When it detects a malware signature of a known virus or threat, it basically will either block it or eliminate it. Again, the key to this is that this does not do anything against that 0-day thing we were talking about earlier. This literally is a malware signature that already is known, and it's already something that's out in the wild, probably been out there for a while, and the virus database already has it in there. So it's not going to be able to block anything that's brand new. And the other thing about it does, traditional antivirus generally does not look at behavior, and it is completely dependent on that database to find infections. So if a type of virus is new and it's on the database, traditional antivirus generally will not catch it. So the next part that we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about, and again, it cannot help you against 0-day infections. Okay, so the next thing we're going to talk about is what we call endpoint detection and response. So this is the newest version of antivirus that is out there. Okay, so what it does is it actually provides continuous monitoring and analysis of endpoint activity, and it does this in real time. So it can detect and respond to new, unknown, and advanced threats, and it uses a combination of things. So it does use that same database that we talked about earlier that traditional antivirus has, but it also does behavior analysis, and it actually learns what is a normal behavior of a computer, what normal things run in the background, and when it sees something abnormal, it will alert the user that something abnormal is happening. Now, Sometimes it's something expected. Maybe I have a client who likes to play games on her computer, and online games can sometimes trigger EDR because it's a behavior that maybe in the background looks a little different, maybe because those games track you or different things like that. So if it will look for behavior that looks weird, and it will then alert you. Now, in our case, and I think it's important to make this point, with us, it alerts our security team on our clients. If somebody has a trigger that happens, it actually goes to a 24-hour team of people who actually monitor versus just going to the endpoint user or even our team. Endpoint detection monitors all activities and ingests investigation uh, of findings to look for any suspicious or malicious behavior. And then it provides a detailed analysis of the incident. So in the case of older antivirus, it's, yep, I found that file. Yep, it exists. Yes, it's malicious. We deleted it. That's it. With EDR, it actually looks at the actual type of activity that's happening, creates a log, tells you why it triggered, tells you all the things that were happening in that time, and gives you detailed information that helps you be able to look and know if that's actually something to be concerned about. So it also provides a comprehensive view of security posture of the entire network. So when you are using this EDR spread out through a whole environment, it actually gives you a faster response. It can block malware. It can block ransomware very quickly. And what it can do is it can actually shut down a machine, depending on how it's set up, and keep it from spreading across the whole network. It also, which is really neat, it identifies the root causes of incidents. So if you have something that happens that EDR gets triggered, you can actually look back and actually see what actually was the root cause. Where did that come from? Was it downloaded? What kind of file was it? All of that information. Now, that might not mean much to you, the business owner, but when you have a team of people like us looking at that stuff, it gives us quick insight on what's really going on and whether it's something that we need to be concerned about or whether it's something we can pass up. Okay. So a good endpoint protection is only one piece of a protected environment. So we talked a little bit in the last 12 minutes about free antivirus, which you should not use, paid antivirus, the traditional type, which we're learning is just a passive. It monitors files and processes, but does not look at behavior, and endpoint detection. And the reality is that we as a security company, we use endpoint protection as just one leg of how we protect our clients. So here's the way we do it. And I love this. I had a friend make this picture for me. And when facing foes, it's important to have some armor. We want to make sure that you, as the business owner, are protecting your castle. So we do this in three ways. So we do email filtering and threat hunting. So we actually look through emails and look for active threats and block them. We do 24-hour monitoring and response. So that's our EDR, which is monitored by a security professional team. And then we do cybersecurity training. Those are kind of three legs that have quite a bit under each one. But at Truett, we do a ton of things to keep your business safe. These are just three categories. And under each one of these categories, there is a huge amount of other things that we're doing. And so one of the things that we want to just help educate our clients on, or even the people who are watching this video, if you're not a client, is you want to think about each part of your business. If you're heavily using email, you want to be thinking about how it's protected, if it's protected. If you're, if you have a lot of employees, you want to be thinking about cybersecurity training. You want to be thinking about what kind of vulnerabilities can exist just from employees clicking on the wrong thing. And you want to begin to structure your business in such a way where even if a bad email gets sent to one of your employees, you have the confidence that they're not going to click on that and expose your company. And the only way to really do that is that's the starting place is training. It's to get them not to click on it. And then we add the other layers of email hunting so that maybe or email hunting. So maybe the bad email or the email with malware on it or a phishing attempt never even gets to the employee. And then say they do click on it, then we put in surveillance and monitoring on each machine to prevent that malware from going anywhere. Okay. So, here's 16 minutes of talking just real quick, high level about what antivirus is. So I'm going to just challenge anybody who sees this video. There's a couple things you can do. If you want to scan this QR code that's on the screen, it will give you a free strategy session. And basically what we'll do is we'll sit down with you for a half hour, 20 minutes, and talk through what things you're doing now and give you some help and some direction on what your next steps should be to protect your business. Watch the news. There's a lot of crazy stuff happening out there. And the reality is that just because you're a small business doesn't mean you're not a target. In fact, quite a bit we're seeing that small businesses are just as much or more of a target as really large corporations. It's just they're not making the news. The other thing you can do on any of the platforms, so where I know we're broadcasting out to LinkedIn and YouTube and Facebook, send me leave a comment below to tell me what you're using here. You can also send us a message and just ask any questions that you have. But your best next step, if you see this and you're saying, yeah, I'm using free antivirus, or yeah, I'm using traditional antivirus, or I don't know what I have, schedule a free strategy session with me, and I will help point your business in the right direction. And we'll help you get things figured out. And we want to make sure that we keep your business 100% safe. So thanks for watching. And if you have any questions, throw something down in the comments below, and we would be happy to help you out. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next Thursday.